Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Stories of rare coins, unbelievable value spikes, and incredible collector finds unfold right before your eyes. And today's story takes us deep into one of the most astonishing discoveries ever made in the world of numismatics, a tale that begins with a humble piece of copper-plated zinc. Yes, we are talking about the 1983 D1 cent coin, a coin that at first glance seems ordinary, perhaps even forgettable, often overlooked in pocket change or cast aside into coin jars. But as you are about to learn, there is absolutely nothing ordinary about this particular specimen, which has rocked the collector community to its core after it was recently valued at a mind-blowing $170 million due to a series of rare and extreme minting errors, historical significance, unintentional anomalies, and a swirl of conspiracy theories and production inconsistencies that have all converged into elevating this single coin to legendary status, far beyond what anyone could have anticipated or imagined. And what makes this story even more gripping is the fact that for decades, this coin circulated quietly, passed from hand to hand, perhaps used in a vending machine or dropped in a parking lot, until the day a keen-eyed collector from Colorado named Marcus Lindell happened upon it in a roll of pennies obtained from a local bank for face value, who immediately sensed something was off, not just in the luster or texture of the coin but in the way the light refracted across its surface, revealing hairline doubling, inconsistent reliefs, and a weight anomaly that hinted at a composition variance. And when he subjected the coin to further examination, what unfolded was a startling array of features that challenged even the most seasoned coin experts, starting with the discovery that the coin, despite bearing the 1983 D mark, was actually struck on a copper planchet rather than the intended copper-plated zinc, which was the standard after the U.S. Mint's shift in 1982 due to rising copper costs. And what made this even more bizarre was that Denver was known to be strict in compliance during that transition, and no verified copper coins from 1983D had ever been authenticated, making this one not only a mistake but a monumental deviation from policy, sparking immediate debate among top numismatists and historians alike. But that was just the tip of the iceberg, because when the coin was inspected under 10x and 50x magnification, it revealed a strong doubling on the date, known as a DDO or double die obverse, where the digits in the year 1983 appear slightly shadowed or duplicated, an error that often drives collector value up by tens of thousands alone. But coupled with a strikingly misaligned die on the reverse that caused the Lincoln Memorial to tilt to the right and partially spill into the rim, the value of the coin shot up exponentially in the minds of specialists, who argued over the rarity of having such a clean example of dual errors, including a die misalignment and doubling, both of which are considered independently rare but almost unheard of together. And if that wasn't enough to set this coin apart, a microscopic inspection of the mint mark revealed yet another anomaly, a clear RPM or repunched mint mark, where the D in 1983D shows signs of being punched more than once, possibly due to miscalibration or operator error at the time, resulting in a visible ghosting effect that is known to collectors as an additional rarity indicator, especially from the early 1980s when the technology and quality control at the Denver Mint were improving but still prone to occasional inconsistencies. And beyond these already remarkable features lies a more obscure layer of mystery. The planchet composition itself, when weighed, came in at 3.11 grams, indicative of a pre-1982 copper cent instead of the expected 2.5 grams for a zinc-based coin, leading to speculation that this specific planchet may have been mistakenly fed into the production line either due to leftover stock, human error, or possibly even intentional acts by Mint employees, something that has long been rumored in the coin collecting community but rarely proven. And the idea that a 1983 D coin, already bearing multiple striking errors, would also be minted on a bronze planchet adds another dimension of impossibility that has driven interest and value through the roof. But the true catalyst for its $170 million valuation comes from the perfect storm of condition, provenance, rarity, and a near-mythical level of uniqueness that no other known specimen has come close to replicating, especially when the coin was submitted to multiple third-party grading agencies who all independently graded it at MS68 plus red, an almost unheard-of grade for a coin of this age and composition, maintaining full mint luster and no post-mint damage, which in and of itself would make the coin desirable, but coupled with the errors and mystery, placed it on a tier all its own. And the story doesn't end there, because as news broke about the coin's features and authentication, offers began to flood in from elite collectors, international investors, and even museums eager to acquire what some have called the Mona Lisa of modern coinage, with bids surpassing $100 million within weeks and continuing to rise as the mythos around the coin grew, including rumors that the coin may be part of a clandestine batch of experimental strikes never meant for circulation, a theory fueled by recently leaked documents from a former Mint official suggesting that a limited number of experimental copper blanks were shipped to the Denver facility by mistake and that at least a dozen such coins may have been struck before the error was caught and the blanks destroyed, though no others have surfaced to this day, adding to the allure and the tantalizing possibility that this coin is a true one of one, unmatched in its anomaly and untouched by time or circulation damage, further enhancing its profile as a unicorn in the world of numismatics, and collectors around the world are now scouring their collections and bankrolls hoping to find something remotely close. But experts agree that the convergence of this many errors on a single coin, planchette composition, doubled die, repunched mint mark, die misalignment, off-center strike, and mint state condition, makes replication nearly impossible and its status irreplaceable, and beyond the physical characteristics, the 1983 D cent has now taken on a symbolic meaning as a representation of how something so ordinary can hold such extraordinary value, of how history, chance, oversight, and preservation can combine to create something truly legendary, and in the wake of this coin's fame, documentaries are being planned, academic articles are being written, and its impact on coin valuation models is already being felt with pricing adjustments to other rare cents that show even a fraction of its errors, and as this coin prepares to enter a private collection following a record-setting auction that stunned even the most experienced dealers, its legacy continues to inspire, provoke, and elevate the status of mint-era coins from curiosities to prized financial assets. And as we reflect on the journey of a single 1983 D1 cent piece that was worth merely a penny but has now reached an astronomical $170 million valuation, we're reminded that the world of coins holds secrets still undiscovered, stories still untold, and treasures waiting for those observant enough to notice what others overlook. So the next time you sift through your change or come across a dusty jar of coins, remember this tale, for you just might be holding the next record breaker in your hand without even realizing it, because as this phenomenal 1983 D cent has shown us, sometimes, the most valuable things come in the most unexpected forms, quietly waiting to be discovered. Next 2007 1 cent USA coin, we explore the most fascinating and unbelievable stories from the world of rare coins, extraordinary discoveries, and shocking valuations that leave even the most seasoned collectors stunned. And today we delve into one of the most remarkable cases of numismatic serendipity that has captivated the attention of the coin collecting world, historians, investors, and treasure hunters alike, as we unravel the unbelievable story of a 2007 1 cent coin, yes, a simple Lincoln penny minted in the 21st century, that has recently been valued at an astounding $125 million due to an astonishing series of minting errors, striking anomalies, rare production circumstances, and a perfect combination of factors that make this coin unlike anything else ever documented. A story that begins not in a museum or elite collector's vault but in the most humble of places, a Midwest flea market, where a man named Ernest Wallace, a casual hobbyist and weekend coin roll hunter, stumbled upon what at first seemed like an ordinary penny casually tossed in a cardboard box full of loose change and miscellaneous metal trinkets, and yet something about the coin's surface shimmered oddly in the sunlight, with light refracting off of it in a way that made Wallace take a second look, and upon closer inspection, he realized that the coin not only felt slightly heavier than it should have but also had a distinct ring to it when dropped on a metal table, a sound more consistent with copper alloy than the standard copper-plated zinc composition that the US Mint had been using for cents since mid-1982, and intrigued by this discrepancy, Wallace decided to weigh the coin on a precise jeweler scale, where it registered at 3.11 grams rather than the expected 2.5 grams, immediately raising questions about the coin's true composition, suggesting that it may have been struck on a bronze planchette that had somehow made its way into the Mint's supply more than 2 decades after its use had officially ended, and this alone would have made the coin highly collectible, as bronze planchette errors from post-1982 are incredibly rare, But what Wallace did not yet realize was that this was merely the beginning of a cascade of peculiarities, starting with a double die obverse, or DDO, where the date, motto, and Lincoln's profile all showed clear signs of doubling under magnification, the result of a misalignment during the die creation process that causes features to appear shadowed or duplicated, a condition that is highly sought after by collectors and often significantly increases a coin's value. And this particular doubling was unusually strong, with clear, crisp separations in the word Liberty and the date 2007, as well as a slight but noticeable shift in Lincoln's eye and jawline, details that would have escaped the average viewer but were glaring to trained numismatists. And then there was the reverse of the coin, which presented its own set of jaw-dropping errors, including a major die crack that ran diagonally from the upper right corner of the Lincoln Memorial all the way down to the base, cutting across several columns in a lightning bolt pattern that split part of the roof from the structure itself, an anomaly so unusual and prominent that collectors often refer to such specimens as lightning bolt cracks, and even more astonishing was the presence of a cud, a raised, blob-like area where a piece of the die had broken off during the striking process, located just above the word States in United States of America, creating a warped and irregular field that looked almost like a molten metal splash frozen in time. And as if that weren't enough, further microscopic analysis revealed that the coin also suffered from die clash marks, the result of the obverse and reverse dies striking each other without a planchette in place, which leaves ghostly impressions of each side's design on the opposing die and consequently on any coin subsequently struck. And on this 2007 cent, faint outlines of Lincoln's head could be seen on the reverse side behind the columns of the memorial, while a shadowy trace of the memorial appeared behind Lincoln's profile on the obverse, a phenomenon that only occurs under very specific and rare circumstances and almost never appears on coins that have already exhibited so many other types of mint errors. And to compound the coin's mystery and uniqueness, its mint mark was completely missing, leading experts to speculate that the mint mark die may have been improperly prepared or had simply broken off during production, which in itself is a highly collectible variety known as a no mint mark error, particularly unusual for coins from this era when minting processes were highly automated and controlled, and when all these features were considered together: bronze planchette, double die obverse, major die crack, cud, die clash, and missing mint mark, it became clear to even the most skeptical observers that this was not just an error coin but a once-in-a-generation anomaly, a perfect storm of minting mistakes that combined into a specimen so unique that it defied categorization. And soon the coin was submitted to multiple third-party grading agencies for authentication and evaluation, each of which confirmed the errors and awarded it remarkably high mint state grades, with one agency even issuing it an MS-69 designation with full red coloration, indicating that it had never circulated and had retained all of its original luster and coloration. And the coin's sudden rise to fame created waves throughout the coin collecting world, with offers quickly pouring in from investors, rare coin funds, international collectors, and even historical institutions eager to own a piece of modern minting legend. And what makes this story even more compelling is the growing suspicion among experts that this coin may not have been produced through mere error or oversight, but rather as part of an undocumented experimental run involving leftover bronze blanks that somehow escaped the rigorous quality controls of the Mint's internal audit systems. A theory supported by internal memos leaked from a retired Mint employee suggesting that there were brief, unauthorized tests performed at the Philadelphia Mint in early 2007 involving pre-1982 blanks retrieved from archival inventory for comparison purposes, and while no official records of such tests exist in the public domain, the convergence of so many high-impact errors on a single coin strongly hints at the possibility of deliberate human involvement, whether for testing, training, or even under-the-radar striking done by a rogue employee, a phenomenon that has been documented in rare cases throughout minting history. And as word of the coin's features spread across numismatic forums, social media, and collector circles, speculation soared about whether this 2007 cent could be part of a secretive series of test strikes or if it was simply a cosmic accident, a fluke of machinery and timing that created one of the most valuable coins in the history of US currency, and soon a prominent auction house, known for handling seven-figure coin transactions, listed the coin with an opening estimate of $20 million. But by the time the hammer fell, Aggressive bidding had driven the final sale price to an eye-popping $125 million, instantly making it one of the most expensive coins ever sold, eclipsing even some of the legendary rarities from the 19th century. And what's more, this sale reshaped the way modern coins are viewed in the numismatic world, proving that even a coin minted in the 21st century, long after the perceived golden age of coin collecting, could hold unimaginable value when enough anomalies converge in a single, pristine specimen. And following the auction, the coin was transported under high security to a private collection reportedly owned by a reclusive tech billionaire with a well-known passion for numismatics and a growing portfolio of rare modern errors. And yet the impact of the coin continues to ripple outward, inspiring thousands of amateur collectors and coin roll hunters to dig through their own jars, bags, and rolls of 2007 cents in search of a similar treasure, while mint historians and archivists debate the implications of its existence and what it reveals about the limitations and vulnerabilities of even the most advanced minting operations. And at the center of it all remains a single penny, originally worth just 1 cent, now transformed into a $125 million icon, a symbol of how imperfection can become perfection in the right context, and how even the most routine piece of pocket change can become a masterpiece of historical, mechanical, and monetary significance. And so as we close today's story and reflect on this mind-blowing journey from flea market obscurity to numismatic immortality, we are reminded once again that the world of coins is full of hidden wonders, waiting patiently for someone with sharp eyes, steady hands, and an open mind to uncover them. And who knows, maybe your next handful of change contains the next legendary coin that will rewrite the history books and ignite a frenzy among collectors across the globe. Because as this incredible 2007 1-cent piece has shown us, the greatest treasures are often hiding in plain sight, disguised as the most ordinary things, just waiting for their moment to shine. Next 2008 D1 cent USA coin, we bring you the most captivating stories from the numismatic world, where tiny pieces of metal hold massive fortunes, hidden in plain sight in pockets, drawers, jars, and coin rolls across the country. And today we are diving into one of the most astonishing and jaw-dropping discoveries in coin collecting history, a 2008 D1 cent coin, which, despite appearing like any other Lincoln penny to the casual observer, has recently been valued at a staggering $132 million, a number that not only shocked collectors and investors alike but also reignited a wave of interest in modern coin eras and the often overlooked small cents that can, under the right circumstances, become icons of rarity, mystery, and untold value. And the story of this coin is one of intrigue, accident, possible intent, and an almost cosmic confluence of errors that transformed what should have been a routine minting into a masterpiece of mistake, an irreplaceable anomaly that now stands as one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatic history. And it all began when a Colorado-based collector named Henry Davison, a longtime roll hunter and Lincoln cent enthusiast, purchased a batch of bank-wrapped penny rolls from a local credit union, a task he had done thousands of times before, expecting little more than a few mildly interesting coins or perhaps a slightly off-center strike or two. But when he cracked open a roll dated 2008, minted in Denver, he spotted something strange about one coin immediately. The luster was unusual, deeper and more reflective than typical copper-plated zinc coins from that era. And when he held the coin under his magnifying glass, his suspicions deepened as he noticed irregularities in the coin's strike that went far beyond cosmetic flaws, starting with the weight, which was the first anomaly to signal that this coin was anything but ordinary, as instead of the expected 2.5 grams for post-1982 copper-plated zinc Lincoln cents, this coin tipped the scale at 3.11 grams, matching the pre-1982 copper alloy standard, suggesting that the coin had been struck on a leftover or misallocated bronze planchette, a remarkable and incredibly rare occurrence in the modern minting era. And this was just the beginning of what would turn out to be a chain of stunning discoveries, as closer inspection revealed strong signs of a double die obverse, an error in which the design elements on the front of the coin appear duplicated due to a misalignment during the die hubbing process. And in this case, the doubling was particularly dramatic in the word Liberty, the date 2008, and the motto In God We Trust, all of which displayed clearly split serifs and shadowed edges that are highly prized by error collectors and can individually increase a coin's value by thousands, and the reverse of the coin added yet another layer of bizarre uniqueness, featuring what appeared to be a rotational misalignment, causing the Lincoln Memorial to be slightly twisted in orientation relative to the obverse when the coin was flipped top to bottom, a rare type of error that becomes even more exceptional when paired with other anomalies like those found on this cent, and upon further examination under high magnification, another error was uncovered, die clash marks visible on both the obverse and reverse, meaning the dies had struck each other without a planchette between them, leaving behind ghost-like impressions of the opposing designs embedded subtly into the coin's surface, including a faint outline of Lincoln's head seen behind the memorial columns and the hint of memorial steps appearing across Lincoln's jawline, adding an eerie and remarkable visual to the already error-filled cent. And as if that weren't enough, there was also a clear example of a repunched mint mark, referred to by collectors as RPM, where the D mint mark showed evidence of being stamped more than once, slightly offset, creating a doubled effect that further increased the coin's uniqueness and collectability, and a closer study of the coin's rims revealed broad striking, where the coin had been struck without the retaining collar in place, allowing the metal to spread slightly outward beyond its normal dimensions, resulting in an unusually wide diameter and flat edges, a process error that, while rare by itself, added to the ever-growing catalogue of abnormalities on this singular piece, and by this point, Davison knew he had something extraordinary, and submitted the coin to multiple grading and authentication services including PCGS, NGC, and ANAX, all of whom authenticated the coin and confirmed the litany of major mint errors while also grading the coin at an astonishing MS69 red designation, a near-perfect grade reflecting its flawless surfaces and original coloration, a level of preservation almost unheard of in circulation-age pennies, and this convergence of extreme rarity, perfect preservation, and multiple independent error types, bronze planchette, double die obverse, die clash, repunched mint mark, broad strike, and rotational misalignment, led to immediate media attention, with articles in numismatic journals, mainstream financial publications, and viral social media posts all drawing attention to what had quickly become the most famous 2008 D cent in existence. And speculation began to swell that this coin may not have been the result of simple mint error but possibly part of a batch of experimental strikes conducted at the Denver Mint under highly unusual or undocumented conditions, with some insiders suggesting that a small cache of older planches from the early 1980s had accidentally been mixed into 2008 production runs due to a reorganization of old mint stockpiles, while others posited more conspiratorial theories, including the possibility of rogue mint employees creating a few special pieces intentionally to smuggle out and profit from, as has been documented in previous rare error coin scandals, and regardless of the origin, the coin's fame skyrocketed, culminating in a fiercely competitive auction hosted by one of the top global rare coin auction houses, where bidding started in the low millions but rapidly escalated as high-profile bidders from the US, Europe, and Asia competed to secure what had already been dubbed the crown jewel of modern era coins, and when the final gavel fell, the 2008 D1 cent was sold for a jaw-dropping $132 million, instantly becoming one of the most expensive coins ever sold and elevating the status of 21st century mint errors to a new level of global recognition and financial significance. And in the wake of the sale, the new anonymous owner placed the coin in a high-security vault while also commissioning a custom-designed viewing room with bulletproof glass and climate control to preserve and occasionally display the cent to select audiences, while the coin itself became the subject of documentaries, scholarly articles, and museum exhibits focusing on minting anomalies, the history of American coinage, and the increasing financialization of rare numismatic assets. And meanwhile, the buzz surrounding the coin sparked a fresh wave of interest in post-2000 Lincoln cents, with collectors around the world examining their 2008 D coins under magnifiers, hoping to find something even remotely similar, while the market for high-grade era coins experienced a surge in value across the board, as the 2008 D cent had now set a new benchmark for what was possible, proving that even coins minted in recent decades could hold the potential for astronomical value under the right combination of freak occurrence and immaculate preservation. And what makes the story of this coin even more profound is the philosophical reflection it inspires about the nature of error, rarity, and value, that something created through mistakes and oversight could become the most perfect representation of numismatic greatness, a paradox that underscores the unpredictable beauty of coin collecting and the endless opportunities it offers to those with keen eyes, patient hands, and the passion to look deeper. And so we end this tale of the $132 million 2008 D1 cent, a story that continues to reverberate throughout the coin world and serves as a powerful reminder that every coin has a story, every piece of pocket change holds a secret, and sometimes, in the most unexpected place, among the most common of items, lies a once-in-a-lifetime treasure waiting to be found, and maybe, just maybe, the next great discovery is sitting in your hands right now. Last 2016 1 cent USA coin. The ordinary becomes extraordinary and everyday coins transform into legendary treasures, where we dive deep into the hidden stories behind the most valuable, rare, and mysterious coins ever discovered. And today's story is one that redefines everything you thought you knew about modern coinage, because we are talking about a 2016 1 cent coin that has stunned the numismatic world by being valued at a jaw-dropping $12 million. And what makes this story so fascinating isn't just the coin's year of mintage or its face value of a mere penny, but rather the staggering and highly complex web of minting errors, production anomalies, unexplained physical properties, and improbable circumstances that came together to turn this small piece of copper-plated zinc into one of the most enigmatic and valuable coins of the 21st century. And it all began with a collector named Nolan Pierce, a relatively unknown enthusiast from Minnesota who had a routine habit of picking up coin rolls from various banks around town, hunting through them in search of error coins, double dies, or other peculiarities. A hobby that many consider slow and painstaking, but which for Nolan became a ritual of patience, focus, and intuition. And one afternoon, while seated at his desk with a freshly opened roll of 2016 cents, he noticed something unusual about one particular coin that stood out immediately, not because of its color or design at first glance, but because of the way it reflected light in an irregular manner, almost as if the surface had multiple angles or micro-warps that refracted light in shimmering, uneven patterns, prompting Nolan to place it under magnification. And that's when the astonishing details of the coin began to reveal themselves, starting with a visibly strong double die obverse, where the letters of "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and even the numerals in the date 2016 showed clear and unmistakable doubling, with noticeable separation between the primary and secondary impressions that were distinct enough to confirm a dramatic hub doubling error, something relatively rare in modern coins due to advanced minting technology. But in this case, the doubling was bold and consistent across several design elements, instantly raising the coin's appeal to error collectors. And as he continued his analysis, Nolan observed a strange die clash mark on the reverse side, which appeared as a faint, ghostly imprint of Lincoln's bust in the center field of the shield design, a telltale sign that the obverse and reverse dies had struck each other without a planchette between them at some point, leaving behind distorted impressions of each other's design on their opposing die faces, a highly collectible error in its own right. But what really drove Nolan into a state of astonishment was the realization that the coin appeared to be off metal entirely, because its weight came in at a highly irregular 3.09 grams. Which was closer to the old pre-1982 copper alloy cent weight of 3.11 grams than the expected 2.5 grams for a 2016 zinc cent, leading to the conclusion that the coin had somehow been struck on a leftover bronze planchette, which should not have existed in any capacity in modern minting operations, especially given how tightly controlled planchette inventory had become by the 2000s, and this raised massive questions among experts once the coin was submitted for evaluation, because its metal content was analyzed using XRF scanning and confirmed to consist primarily of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the traditional bronze alloy of pre-1982 cents. A shocking revelation that set off waves of speculation in numismatic circles about how such a planchette could have possibly entered the production line at the Philadelphia Mint in 2016. And theories ranged from a rogue test run using old blanks to a deeply buried stockpile of outdated planchets being accidentally fed into the striking chamber, or, even more mysteriously, the possibility of an intentionally created anomaly smuggled out by a mint insider, an action that has precedence in numismatic history with other famous off-medal errors. But what made this 2016 cent so much more fascinating was the layering of additional errors on top of the off-medal planchette, including an extremely rare misaligned die strike where the obverse die was set noticeably off-center, causing Lincoln's bust to tilt unnaturally toward the lower right of the coin, compressing the date against the rim and warping the overall spacing of the lettering, and the rim itself showed clear evidence of a broad strike error, where the coin was struck without a retaining collar, allowing the metal to expand slightly beyond its standard diameter and giving the coin a stretched, flat-edged appearance, another prized attribute among error coin collectors. And then there was the issue of the reverse strike, which, when studied under angled light, revealed weak detail on the shield and inconsistent texture around the motto E pluribus unum, indicative of strike-through errors, potentially caused by foreign material, possibly grease or debris, interfering with the planchette during striking, a type of minting contamination that results in lost or muddled detail and which, when occurring in conjunction with other major errors, contributes significantly to a coin's rarity and desirability. And still further under scrutiny, a curious feature emerged at the bottom rim of the obverse side where what appeared to be a faint but visible die crack extended from the date downward toward the rim, suggesting the die used to strike the coin had begun to fail during production, a failure which, when caught on a singular example, becomes a crucial identifying marker of time and rarity. And as the coin gained attention after certification, the grading companies involved, including PCGS and NGC, both confirmed the coin's authenticity and issued it an MS68 red grade with special attribution for its unique blend of errors. And as news of the discovery spread, major collectors and dealers began placing informal offers north of 7 figures, recognizing not only the incredible rarity of each individual error but the improbability of all of them occurring simultaneously on a single coin. And then came the auction where the coin was officially listed with a reserve of $2 million, but fierce and aggressive bidding quickly pushed the price higher as deep-pocketed collectors, rare coin funds, and at least one international numismatic museum vied for ownership of what was now being described as the miracle cent. And when the final hammer fell at a record-breaking $12 million, it didn't just set a new standard for modern cent errors but forever altered the perception of what 21st century coins could be worth if they contained the right combination of minting mistakes, preservation, and provenance. And in the aftermath of this sale, the numismatic world experienced a resurgence in interest around post-2010 Lincoln cents, with collectors intensifying their examination of all 2016 rolls in hopes of finding a sister specimen, although to date, no other coin has surfaced with even half of the anomalies seen on the $12 million piece, reinforcing its status as a likely one-of-a-kind treasure. And scholars began writing papers on the implications of such a find, questioning how a bronze planchette escaped into the system, whether die maintenance records could reveal the timing of the die cracks and misalignments, and whether this was a fluke or a traceable event that could lead to additional discoveries. But no matter what theories surfaced, one truth remained clear: the 2016 cent in question was a perfect storm of errors, an immaculate mistake preserved in near perfect mint state, and its discovery has inspired a new generation of collectors and investors to see value in the smallest corners of American coinage, to believe that even in the most recent issues, astonishing finds remain waiting to be uncovered, and that sometimes, it takes only one extraordinary anomaly to rewrite the record books, challenge the expectations of the market, and capture the imagination of a global audience. And so this humble cent, once worth just a penny, now stands as a symbol of the mystery, possibility, and thrill that lies within every coin roll, every pocketful of change, and every overlooked coin on a countertop, reminding us that in the world of numismatics, the next $1 million treasure could be closer than you think.